so many of us who started off on the left have been totally disillusioned by it, and that isn't really the actual story anymore. The story now is truly that the left especially is breaking everyone apart and encouraging. It's almost to the level of, it feels like it's a psyop, but they are actually encouraging people not to talk to each other, not to have reasonable discourse. I hadn't seen any of that on the other side. I hadn't seen any of that on the right, per se, of people not wanting to talk about the issues with each other or people wanting to cut off family. I hadn't seen anything like that among Trump voters or among Trump supporters. So I am going to go ahead and go out on a limb here and say this is a leftist issue of them really just trying to drive a wedge in between the different factions of society just due to a mere difference of opinion, and it needs to stop.
It's either libtards and commies or Nazis.
Okay, that's true. We do call them libtards and commies. Well, I won't say we because not me, but I personally am to the point where I identify even more with the right than I do with the left because of the way that the left has handled themselves and the exclusionary tactics that they have begun to use that are so far gone and insane that there's actually people on TikTok talking about poisoning Trump people or hoping for their deaths or hoping for Trump's death, and all kinds of insane things like that, or even people choosing not to deal with their family because that's the right thing to do. I don't think you'll find very many Republicans saying that. But do they pick on people that they think are stupid? Yes, they do. And should they? No, they shouldn't. And should they be cruel to people that they disagree with? No, they shouldn't. And are they? Yes, they are. However, there hasn't been the threatening nature on the right as there has been on the left. The threatening, menacing, the hoping for death for people and things like that. I haven't seen that. But either way, both sides do need to settle down. Like, bring it in. Like, relax. And just have real conversations again. If you want to know what that looks like, watch Matt Walsh have a conversation. Watch Ben Shapiro have a conversation. They are not upset. They are not flipping out. They are simply stating their part of the argument. And we need to go back to that. And we need to forget about this ridiculous concept of cutting people off because of having differing opinions, because we cannot have a United States of America if we're not going to unite despite our differences. And if we aren't going to unite despite our differences, then what we really need to do is have a divided States of America where we have on one side the left and on one side the right, and we all live, one is east, one is west or something. I think each of us deserve a coast. Hopefully we get the East Coast.
When I've watched you debate with Ben Shapiro, and even the preamble you guys have had for 10 minutes about, I really enjoyed the relationship that we have. I really enjoyed that we can have this civil discourse. I really like you as a person. And then it's like, and you still like each other.
That's how political discussions used to happen in the country. I mean, I don't know when it changed to the point where if you disagree with someone politically, well, that means that you can no longer be friendly to each other. You can't be friends. I mean, during the Trump era, so many families were torn apart over political disagreements. And by the way, I'm speaking all high and mighty. I just want to take a moment to take ownership of the fact that I fully bought into that mind frame. Like, I totally bought into that. And there's a video floating out there somewhere of me basically saying, no, you can't be friends with someone who supports Trump or has these views, because it's giving you a sense of who they really are as a person, and they're a bad person.
Right.
Right?
The deplorables.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when Hillary Clinton made the deplorable statement.
I worked for the Clintons. I loved the Clintons.
And then she apologized for it because she was getting backlash. And I remember at that time being upset with her for apologizing because I had fully bought into, no, these people are deplorable. These people are terrible. And it took a lot of growing to realize that.
So, yes, I also was part of the group of liberals early on in the Trump early years who truly felt that Trump people were racist. That's only because of a small amount of people who either, and I'm not totally convinced that they are not feds or like actors or whatever, or paid people, but we're talking about those people who were at the, like the Nazi rally, that were like, Jews will not replace us, or you will not, whatever they were saying. Anyway, like obviously they were, I think they had even Nazi flags, or like the people that run around with the Confederate flag and then also Trump flag, and you're just like, wow, okay, that's the kind of people. But we have to stop doing that. We have to stop labeling an entire group just because of a few bad actors.
Realize that there are a lot of Republican voters who actually do not like some of the things that Donald Trump says, because he does say divisive things. He does say hateful things.
I hate that too.
But there are certain issues that he speaks to. Those are issues that really resonate with them because no other politician has sincerely addressed those issues. They've been neglected. They've been ignored. And they've been ignored by what they view as the political elites. And so they see Trump come in, and yeah, he's a little unhinged in some of the things he says, but they see him as like a wrecking ball to the political elite or the establishment, exactly. And once I was able to really fully grasp that and understand that, and by the way, once I started to understand the flaws in my own party, it helped me kind of begin this journey of rejecting political tribalism and not wanting to be pigeonholed into any political group. I want to feel free to think for myself and to explore ideas without feeling guilty about it.
Thinking for ourselves is something none of us tend to really be too capable of doing it, partly because we're inundated with influences from all around, ranging from TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, whatever, wherever. Just like the old days when it was television. It doesn't really matter. Politicians, our peers, high school, it's all the same thing, same shit, different day. We're being influenced by others and we're letting it happen, and some of us go too far and drink too much Kool-Aid. And then we're on TikTok having a mental breakdown, shaving our head, swearing off sex. Not a terrible idea. But the sex, the swearing off sex parts, that's not a terrible idea. At least until you find someone worth your time, and I mean your actual full-time time. But shaving their heads, having breakdowns, denouncing their entire families, and talking about how it's possible to poison Trump supporters with this or that. That is madness. That is too much fucking Kool-Aid. You heard me? That is too much fucking Kool-Aid. Please don't drink that much Kool-Aid. We need to get back to common sense. We need to get back to normal discourse. If you think that immigrants coming into this country is going to improve our country, that's your opinion. If I think that certain places that bring immigrants into this country might bring bad news bears here, I have my reasons for that, because there are certain cultures that believe in things that I consider to be completely and fully abhorrent, such as child marriage, such as child rape, which is any kind of sex with a child because a child cannot consent. Such as, so all of us are going to have our different opinions, but we all need to be capable of speaking to one another like we're normal freaking human beings. Like, I can even talk to a psychopath, just like, what about Clarice? She did it. She was talking to a psychopath, full-blown fucking face-eating psychopath, and she managed to keep her composure. Did she, rush in there and attack him? Like, no. Did she, poison his food? Did she? No. She just had a conversation with him.
The census taker once tried to test me. I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
But to wrap up, I would say that part of the reason why I left the left was because they demanded lockstep loyalty, and I say loyalty like cult-like loyalty. And even if you just didn't agree with their healthcare plan, or even if you just didn't agree with their social programs or whatever, you became an enemy. And it started, I guess it's been a long time coming, and I guess there have been different phases, I should say. There's been different phases throughout the years, but certainly now is the era of leftist, lockstep, fascism. Like, if anybody was going to talk about fascism, which I'm not trying to fearmonger, none of the people that you see out there in the world are in control of anything. Don't be afraid of them. Don't be afraid to talk to them. Don't be afraid to challenge them. Challenge them, disagree with them. Woosah. Keep your composure. Understand it's not about you. Understand it's not personal. You understand me? It's not fucking personal. It's just their opinion. Doesn't have to do with you. Doesn't have to do with the neighbor. It really doesn't. And just because someone might not like other people, guess what? That's okay too. You're allowed not to like people. You're allowed to do that. So let people have that. I know that there's certain people that you don't like. You have your reasons. I'm not questioning them. That's fine. And I can question them. You should be able to defend yourself. You can ask me why I don't like certain people. I'll be able to defend myself. Nobody's going to lose their freaking mind. Nobody's going to lose an eye. Everything's going to be okay.